Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.us.
Hey, let's go! Get in here! Let's go! Get in here right now! Get in here! Hey, we got 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! That's our plan in the first half. It ain't happening. We get the ball. I promise you one thing. We're going to hit somebody and we're taking down the field for a touchdown. I guarantee you that. Guarantee. Look at me. Let's go. We got 30 minutes. Let's go for the rest of our lives. For the rest of our lives. Let's go. Let's go. Lock on. Hey, hey, lock on. Lock on. Hey, put your heart on the table. We got it.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second installment of the Final Timeout. I am your host, HG, here on Military Broadcast Radio, powered by Work Simple. And it is officially finals week and Stanley Cup week. We are into it. We have game one of the NBA Finals tonight, live from San Antonio. And last night, we had game one of the Stanley Cup playoff. And boy, howdy, was it an instant classic. That's where we're going to be opening up our show today, as the Vegas Golden Knights go into Carolina and steal game one of the Stanley Cup final on the road. Carolina had up to this point been pretty much cruising through the postseason, a 12-2 record or 12-1 record entering the Stanley Cup. Their only loss, game one against the Montreal Canadiens, one that seemed like they were kind of rusty, coming off 12 days of rest there. No rust on this one, but after they closed out the Canadiens with 4 straight wins, including a 6-1 victory in game 5, Carolina was looking like the most dominant team left. And this is a Vegas team that had a lot of, strife throughout the season. And I mean, they fired their coach like 9 games before the playoffs. Wasn't a squad that a lot of people expected to come out of the West. You had your, Edmonton was in their conference or in their division, which, they still got McDavid. They were a team that a lot of people thought could be dangerous. You obviously, the Avalanche were huge favorites. You had the Stars, you had the Wild, a really young and up and coming team in Anaheim as well. I don't think a lot of people were super bullish on the Vegas Golden Knights, with all the ups and downs of the season. You wonder, would they be able to put it all together in the postseason? But this has been a team that when their back is to the wall, that's when they start playing their best hockey. And you get them when they get down early, they really rally and become a tough team. And they show that again last night, dropping, down 2-0 pretty early in this game. They battled their way back and ultimately were able to hold on and win this thing. But we'll give you the breakdown of how this thing went in case you missed it. So almost immediately into the game, Nikolaj Ehlers with the go-ahead goal gets Carolina up 1-0, 25 seconds into this matchup. And then 12 minutes and 8 seconds into the game, he is back again. Ehlers with another goal puts the Hurricanes up 2-0. It's looking good for Carolina. But just a minute and 20 seconds later, Shea Theodore answers off an assist from Braden McNabb and Cole Smith and gets the goal. And so now Vegas is only down 1-0. This is when they started to sort of come to life, but they were definitely really struggling for a lot of this first period, looking like they were just a step behind Carolina. Carolina's been so good about all the pressure they can apply in the offensive zone. Their defensemen just give you so little room to operate and are on top of you when you're trying to transition and get back. But then in the second period, started opening up a little bit for Vegas, and it was them getting some good looks off of turnovers. And then immediately, like 30 seconds into the second period, Ivan Barbashev with the assist from Jack Eichel gets it to go, and we're all of a sudden tied up 2-0. And then just like 3 minutes later, William Karlsson with another goal of him off the assist from Mitch Marner, and that one was a beauty as well. To go ahead and give Vegas their first lead of the night. But the Hurricanes weren't going to go out quietly. They ended up battling back, and Jordan Stahl gets a goal to tie this thing back up. We're at 12:42 into the second period here. And we go into second intermission. We're tied up 3-3 apiece. And it's really feeling like it is anybody's ball game, but Vegas, they were doing something that we've seen a lot out of them this postseason, and it is just really tighten up down the stretch and give the other team not a lot of looks on offense, and just really keep everything trapped on the wall. But we go into the third period, and it's a 3-3 game. And Brett Howden, which this might have been my favorite goal of the night. Was it a pass from Shea Theodore, or was he just trying to shoot that puck and Howden was in the right place at the right time? I don't know. But we're going to go ahead and give Theodore the assist on that. And I think we'll just say it was a perfectly placed pass. It gets that goal. And again, we're just scoring so quickly into the start of these periods here. And 1:21 to go into the third period, we get our first goal. So that was actually the longest it took anybody to score at the start of a period. And then we've got some back and forth for a while. And then Carolina definitely benefits off of the refs blowing somewhat of a controversial icing call, which led to a face-off in Vegas's zone. And Shane Gorstebier gets himself an open look, fires it over the top right shoulder of Carter Hart, and all of a sudden we're tied right back up at 4 apiece. But 16:36 into the third, man, we're game clock's ticking down. Tomas Hertl gets the go-ahead goal that would eventually be the game-winning goal, as Vegas would close this out. Give Carolina some credit, man. They got some really good looks on when they had their empty net, and they were bringing 6-on-5 basically in Vegas's zone. A couple of close calls for the Golden Knights. Carter Hart had some really nice saves. They got some good deflections and shot blocks from their players overall. And I mean, Mitch Marner may have been the hero that won this thing for the Golden Knights in game one. And I don't even know if he was intending to do this. Looked like he was trying to get out of the way of the puck. But 5.6 seconds left in the game. You've got, icing penalty on the Golden Knights, so there's going to have to be a face-off. It's going to be on Vegas' side of the ice. And I think it was Svechnikov, if I remember correctly. He got a great look off of either him or Stahl, I believe, but I believe it was Svechnikov. Got a really great look just off of the face-off play, and Marner was just kind of in the way. I'm not sure if he was trying to jump out of the way or if he was trying to deflect. It kind of looked like he was trying to jump out of the way so Carter Hart could find this thing, but it ended up going off the side of his leg instead, and that might have very well won the game for the Golden Knights because the angle that was coming up, I don't know if Carter Hart was going to be able to get to that in time. So being in the right place at the right time, Mitch Marner probably saves game one for his team, and they get a huge road victory, and they're now just 3 wins away from hoisting the Stanley Cup. This was an instant classic. You had so many great plays, not just the goal scoring, which was so back and forth, but just it was physical. Both teams were hitting each other a lot. There was a ton of great deflections. There was, a lot of great penalty kills. There were no power play goals in this one, which something that's been a bit of a struggle for the Hurricanes in this postseason. But a lot of great opportunities off of takeaways and turnovers, that type of stuff. So, yeah, we just really saw a lot of high-level hockey. I will say I think that was probably what hurt Carolina the most in this was just the giveaways and Vegas getting out into transition a little bit, getting those shots up on goal. That's something that Carolina has been very good at avoiding this postseason. And one of my concerns that I still have is just like how Anderson's going to really do if another team gets up a lot of shots on him. I don't think that's been a huge issue for Carolina because like Anderson hasn't had to make a ton of plays a lot in a lot of games this postseason because he's been really just, Carolina's really just been controlling the puck in most of these matchups here. So you're not seeing a whole lot of shots on you. And I don't think he was all too great. The defense didn't do him any favors. Vegas got some pretty quick breakaway shots at him, but 5 goals allowed on 23 shot attempts for the Golden Knights. Now, on the other hand, Carter Hart definitely had his struggles at times, but I think when it mattered the most, he was really, again, just really nails. Probably been my favorite goalie of the postseason. Been really good to watch. He's just been incredible in some big moments, and he really locks it down in the third period. But did give up 4 goals and 27 shot attempts, but still 23 saves. Is really good there for him. Shea Theodore, huge difference maker in this one for the Golden Knights. And he had the goal himself, got the 2 assists, a couple of blocked shots in there for him as well. Really nice from the defenseman there. A couple of the guys that had some nice moments. Hurtle ended up being the hero of this one. I thought Barbashev made some really nice defensive plays as well, even though, despite being a forward, but he was out there, had a really nice goal himself. Guy that's probably not going to get a ton of love just because he didn't really show up much in the offensive stat sheet, but was doing some work with 4 blocked shots, and this one was Noah Haffen. Fantastic minutes for that defenseman for the Golden Knights. It was really good. On the other side, for the Hurricanes, I don't think there was anybody that was really all that terrible either. I mean, they got a lot of great minutes from guys out there as well. I thought their lines played really well. I mean, this was just a really good back and forth hockey game here. Just overall, they probably need to clean up the giveaways. Those were kind of hurting them. Ehlers was fantastic in this one. Obviously, he had the first 2 goals. Did kind of go quiet though late in this one, so you'd like to see him be a little bit more active late in the game. I'll say Seth Jarvis did make some nice plays out there, but as one of the big star players on your team, I think it would just be nice to see him show up a little bit more. You had Jordan Stahl not getting a ton of shot attempts himself. Did have 3 in this one, but a lot of them were off the mark. But he did end up getting the goal in this one, so 1 for 3 isn't really bad. And yeah, the defensemen of the Hurricanes were really good in this one, but it was just the giveaways, and when they didn't have a chance to get back and get set, or when you're trying to skate backwards, it's just a lot harder to get into those passing and shooting lanes. But Chatfield, Goisenbier, and Miller all blocked a ton of shots in this one as well. So this is a very winnable series still for Carolina. It's really anybody's series anyways, but it's officially started. A road team getting the victory game 1. So, I mean, Carolina in a bit of an interesting position. They really haven't been, trailing a whole lot in a season series or the postseason series this year. Obviously, they got down to Montreal, but you can equate that more to rust, I think, for them than anything. They didn't look rusty tonight. I think they just got outplayed by Vegas. I mean, I don't think we're going to see a reversal like we did in that Montreal series where they go and win 4 straight. That they were playing a team that really just ran out of gas, and you saw that in Game 5 with the 6 goals that they gave up. It was just too much for them coming off a back-to-back 7-game series. Not going to be the case here against the Golden Knights. It's going to be really interesting to see how this series goes forward here. The giveaways are going to be the big thing. Keep in control of the puck. Don't give it up. Don't give Vegas those opportunities to get out in transition. You're very good when you're able to get your set defense and get back into the defensive zone before Vegas crosses. So it's going to be looking, if anything, if it keeps up like game 1, rather, it's going to be an absolutely fantastic series. This was an instant classic last night. I can't wait to see who comes out of this one. I mean, Carolina's they've been getting so close the past couple of years. They can't get past the conference finals. Vegas has just been so consistently good. Didn't look like this is going to be their year. And I mean, the way this veteran team's turned it around to have themselves in this position, and they get a huge game 1 victory against the team that was just steamrolling their way through the East. Obviously, there was the question of how tough their path was and all that, but dominating through the postseason, still dominating through the postseason. Really, it's going to be a really interesting series. I would say, just based off of game 1 reactions, I'm going to go with I think Carolina can still pull this out. I'm gonna go with the Canes, but I think in 7. I think that's good. This is another year where we could see a 7-game series. So I'm gonna go with the Canes in 7 here. All right. Well, we're coming up on a good point to go on break here for me. Gonna send it off to a quick music break, but before I go, question of the day, and I'll put this up on the ticker at the bottom for everyone here, but help settle a debate for me. What is the harder sport to play, golf or baseball? Mull over that a little bit for me while we go on this quick music break. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to have an NBA Finals preview when we come back here on the Final Timeout.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. You're giving veterans a voice today. Powered by WorkSimple, where we simplify your mission.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.us.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Final Timeout. I'm your host, HG. We just had our Stanley Cup Game 1 recap and preview the rest of the series here. Coming on to our next topic of conversation, going to be the NBA Finals. Do have a question of the day for everyone. You can see it scrolling down there across the bottom. But yeah, leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. I had a very spirited debate about this with somebody, and we both would just love to get some second opinions and see what everyone thinks. This is definitely a very interesting conversation. So, golf or baseball, which one's harder? Let me know in the comments down below. Yes, the NBA Finals Game 1 is tonight. We're so excited. Both cities are so excited. I mean, the mayor of New York repealed bedtimes for the finals run, so all the kiddos can stay up late and watch the game, not have to worry about that. It's gonna be a very fun series. I think two very likable teams here, man. I mean, the Knicks are they're a really scrappy bunch. Jalen Brunson's a guy that's been doubted so much in his career. Karl Anthony Towns has been really trying to learn and grow as a player, and especially after dealing with the tragic loss of his mother a couple years ago, has really, transformed his game and fit into a new role to help this team be super successful. You've got an absolutely phenomenal player in OG Anunoby, whose ability to guard 1 through 5 has just been so crucial to the Knicks' success this postseason. The do-it-all type of teammate, and Josh Hart, who's the guy that's gonna do whatever he needs to do on a nightly basis, whether that's go out there and guard a really great shooter or get a bunch of rebounds. He stepped up and had a couple of games where he's hit a bunch of threes. And Mike Brown, the guy that got fired and cast aside from his team, the Sacramento Kings, and just come in and take this team to the finals in year 1's been really impressive. And then on the other side, you've got a young Spurs team that is looking way ahead of schedule, but you've got a really passionate star player who's just a phenomenal athlete who can do things that guys his height and size really shouldn't be able to do. With a couple phenomenal young guards in Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Dylan Harper. You've got a guy like Julian Champagnie, who teams had really given up on. He didn't know, if he would be. He got cut from, I believe it was the Sixers a few years ago, and really he wasn't sure if he was ever going to play in the NBA again. And he's just been so grateful for the opportunity that San Antonio's given him, and he's really given them a lot. His three-point shooting's been so crucial for them this postseason. You have another guy like De'Aaron Fox, who was kind of dealt a bad hand in Sacramento. I mean, he really led that team to a 3 seed into a postseason berth back in 2023, and they didn't do enough, I think, to really follow up and put him in a position to succeed. And, he gets traded to the Spurs, late in the late last year, just before the deadline. And now he's been a crucial veteran for them in this run. Him and Harrison Barnes both have given them some great moments. Barnes just for his leadership and his experience in these moments, and Fox is really in the clutch moments, late in games, been the guy who's been able to just very calmly go out there, get this team a bucket, settle them down, and keep them grounded, things like that. I mean, he had a guy like Luke Cornett is just fine that carved out himself a great role on this team. Carter Bryant, if you don't know, you should look up everything he does for the deaf community and ASL. He had family members that were dealt with deafness, and he's, learned sign language to better communicate with them, and raises all sorts of money for the deaf community. He's just a great guy. I mean, these are two incredibly likable teams. So I think we're so blessed that it's like no matter who wins this the game, America's gonna win regardless, because we're gonna get a really respectable champion that we're all gonna love. It's been it's been a long time since the Knicks have won one, and the Spurs are sure they had their dynasty with Tim Duncan, but they were one of the more. I feel like of sports dynasties, the Spurs were definitely one of the more beloved ones, and they went toe to toe with that Lakers dynasty for so many years. But we're getting a rematch in 1999. It's going to be fantastic. I'm just so excited to see how this series goes, and I'm very intrigued. I'm going to go and give a breakdown of how I think these matchups are going to go in this series. But first, we do have to talk about that legendary Game 7 between the Thunder and the Spurs. That was a phenomenal game of basketball. And this was it was a huge team effort from the Spurs. It wasn't just one guy doing it all. Wemby, the leading scorer, but only with 22 points. Shan Penny hit 6 threes in this one, scored 20. You had De'Aaron Fox, 15 points on 6 of 12 shooting. Devin Vassell struggled shooting, but he made up for it with a couple of steals on the defensive end. Fox also with 3 steals in this one. Stephon Castle, 16 points. He had 16, 6, and 6. He was just really well-rounded overall. Dylan Harper given a great 12 and 7 off the bench. Keldon Johnson scored 11 off the bench. And Luke Cornett really only 2 points, didn't do a whole lot rebounding, but did he have maybe the most important play of that entire game with that chase down block on Isaiah Hartenstein? I mean, have we seen a chase down block more important in a game of basketball since that might have been the most impactful one since LeBron's chase down block in Game 7 of the NBA Finals? And Luke Cornett did it at probably half the speed. Those were 2 big guys running down the court, but that was an absolutely crucial defensive play. I mean, subbing in for Wemby late in the game might have been the most important 4 minutes of his career. And he came up with a hugely impactful play that nipped a Thunder run in the bud before it could get started. Yeah. So great. I mean, a phenomenal team effort from the Spurs in this one. And this is a team that, they won 62 games, and they're going to probably be the favorites. I think they are right now minus 185 to win the finals. Excuse me. But let's not act like we thought that they were going to be here. in the finals. We knew this team was going to probably be better, could make the playoffs. Wemby was going to start coming into his own. They were still a very young squad, obviously. I mean, you've got tons of different guys that are really, only in their second or third year. So it was youth. I mean, the new head coach and Mitch Johnson. Nobody saw this team being a 60-win team that was going to defeat the defending champs in the Western Conference Finals and go to the postseason. I mean, they kind of steamrolled through the postseason and through a lot of their opponents. I mean, took care of the Blazers in 4 and 5, beat the Wolves in 6, but I mean, really blew the Wolves out in a lot of those matchups, including a 30-point victory to close out Game 6. A couple of honest blowouts against the Thunder as well. And when the whistle wasn't in the Thunder's favor, I mean, the Spurs kind of kicked their ass. 103-82 was one of their victories. They had a 118-91 victory. Stole Game 1 on the road in a double overtime thriller, 122-115. I don't think we can, myself included, there really weren't a lot of people in sports media that believe that the Spurs could be this far ahead of schedule here. I mean, this could be just the start of a potential dynasty that they've got here, but this was a phenomenal win. And then you just love to see the emotion and the passion. I mean, they burst into tears of joy. They were so fired up. I mean, they really didn't like this team too. Thunder were a huge rival of theirs. They wanted to win this so badly, and a lot of people wanted them to win it so badly. I mean, they felt like probably there were a few games they felt they were probably robbed or weren't given a great shot to win because of the officiating, but so I think it's great though. I think this is great for the game of basketball because the passion, to have these passion back in the sport. There's been too much of this, I feel like, nonchalantness going on the past couple of years. And we just need some more, interesting and complex superstars. And so they've really just started bringing passion back to the game. And it's a good thing that they won because, like, kids do emulate the champions. And so, like, we don't need, like, another generation growing up flopping like a fish every time they get touched on a shot. Like, play through contact, play defense, and not just, cut the other crap out. So we don't have to watch all this terrorist ball from the Thunder in the finals. I'll say for the Thunder, to recap their season, I mean, a 64-win season. Shea wins another MVP. Kind of an MVP I feel like nobody really cares about. Like, you had, like, voters that were like, we're going to give it to Shea, but we don't think he really deserved it. Or that, like, they're like, I can't believe, Jokic isn't going to win it. Or that, or that Wemby wasn't going to win it. But, I'm going to vote for Shea because everyone else is like, all right, mob mentality. But he is a 2-time MVP. Did score 35 points in this game. And he was actually, like, kind of fun to watch in this game because he really, for the most part, cut out all that flopping and just played basketball. And that's the most frustrating thing about Shea and just about the Thunder in general is they're really good. Like, they are. They don't need to do all this other crap. Like, this just constant hitting the deck and flailing around all of this. Like, they could still win on their own, but they're getting away, like, and then on the other end they're getting to, like, do all these, like, this, like, hooking and stepping on people's foot when they try to go rebound off of missed free throw, like just all sorts of like dirty looking plays and things like that. So it's just hopefully that the league is done letting them get away with that stuff. We kind of did see the final two games, man. I mean, the referees were really not willing to blow the whistle a ton in this one, in the last two games. And, some injuries did derail the Thunder season. Jalen Williams really couldn't stay healthy. Chet was really bad in this one as well. Aaron Wiggins. Excuse me. The Dort kind of, was getting cooked on defense. And if he's not really doing anything for you in the defensive end, he's pretty useless. Hardenstein and Chet only combined for 9 total rebounds here. Jalen Williams was the best rebounder for the Thunder. Alex Caruso shot terribly in this one. McCain was kind of off from 3. Not a lot of things went right for them in this one. We'll see. There's still a team that's fairly well built to deal with the apron, but it's coming. They're definitely going to have to move on from some of these guys, but they do somehow have 2 first-round picks. So we'll see what they do with those and how they end up using them. Maybe they make some trades, but I mean, it was hilarious. Wemby and the Spurs broke Chet Holmgren. The guy only took 2 shots, and he wanted no part of the ball. The Wemby Chet beef it's getting pretty one-sided here. He's in his head. So that's going to do it for the Western Conference Finals recap. Really fantastic series, though. That was some good basketball. There was some really good basketball in there when the refs just let them play the game. So on to a little preview of the finals. It'll be interesting to see how the Knicks are going to guard Wemby. That's going to be the biggest mismatch because, they really haven't had Cat playing a lot in the paint. I mean, he struggles defensively. And especially when you get him in pick and roll. And so Mike Brown's been really just having him sort of guard near the perimeter and keep him out of the paint a lot of the time. And it's been OG Anunoby and his ability to guard 1 through 5 that's really been crucial for this run here. But I don't know if they haven't had to really deal with a center like Wemby on this run. You had the Hawks, Chris Aluakon, or whatever his name is, that I can't even remember the guy's name right now. Something like that, though. Not the most difficult center to guard. Joel Embiid, obviously a very talented offensive player, but that was a guy where, where Cat could sort of guard him more one-on-one and post up with him. And they were able to use Mitchell Robinson a lot in that series. And then, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, guys that OG Anunoby's athletic enough with, and they're a little slimmer on this for centers. So he's, not like a terrible size mismatch there. But Wemby's just got that unreal length and athleticism. It feels like you're going to need a big body to be on him. Mitchell Robinson, his pinky's broken, so that it's going to be really interesting there. on how you end up stopping him. I think what's going to be crucial though is that the perimeter defenders are going to have to be able to really close, because you're going to probably have to send help a number of times. And the Spurs have been pretty deadly with those kickouts all postseason. So their ability to close space is going to be crucial. But that's why having a guy like Mikal Bridges has been great for the Knicks. He's really athletic. He's got a lot of great length. I think his ability to defend on the perimeter and their communication, rotating and closing out to try to create some difficult shots for San Antonio will be crucial. And then, on the other end, offensively for them, I think like Brunson is going to have to be absolutely lethal in the mid-range, which he can be. Like, he can be really good at. Obviously, it's going to be tough to the drive to the paint with Wemby lurking there. I think though, like Cat, this is where Cat can be an X factor, is if he's hitting a lot of threes, they're gonna it's gonna be harder for Wemby to just sit in the paint. I mean, Cat's a 7-footer. Like, I don't really think there's anyone else out there on the Spurs that can really has the height to really affect his shot, not the way that Wemby can. I mean, yeah, you can have like a guard or Vassell or Champagny try to guard him out there, but I just don't think that those guys are quite tall enough to really affect him shooting it. Like, if he's on and if he's hitting threes, you're gonna have Wemby start hanging out there, and that can open some things up in the perimeter there. The Knicks are they're on a huge hot streak. They've won, was it now 11 straight games coming into this. So they're certainly going to be no pushover as well. I think the Spurs are going to really need to be good in that pick and roll, like that Fox and Wemby pick and roll, that Castle and Wemby pick and roll, to try to get the Knicks defense out of position or into matchups that they're not comfortable with, because that was my biggest concern for New York going into the postseason, is that I thought they didn't have two really good, or they had two kind of liabilities or not super strong defenders in Cat and Brunson that teams could attack, but they've done a fantastic job. I mean, you have to give Mike Brown so much credit for coaching. I mean, his schemes have really just put the guys in position to be successful, and they have their best defenders on and around the ball, really creating havoc and making life difficult for other teams. And then offensively, they like a guy like Landry Shamet also could be a huge X factor. I mean, like, his 3-point shooting off the bench has been great. And like Josh Hart in the starting lineup, his ability to shoot threes could be a huge X factor for him as well. I mean, they're clicking on all cylinders. Like, the Knicks have an insane amount of synergy right now. They're a veteran team that's been getting so close to this moment too. I do think the biggest issue for the Spurs is trying to stay grounded. Wemby's already admitted that the team's had some difficulties coming back down to earth after that massive win over the Thunder. It's a very young squad. And I mean, even like the vet guys, like besides Harrison Barnes and Luke Cornett, not a lot of dudes have even gotten this close to the finals. And so, this is going to be the biggest stage, and they should be able to feed off of the home crowd energy. They're beneficial that they do have home court advantage for them in this series, but you got to think of like all these 20 23, 24-year-olds are going to have to go play an NBA final, multiple NBA finals games in Madison Square Garden. I mean, that's the biggest stage in the world and the biggest game in the world for basketball. So that's the Spurs, I think, with like Wemby's just a huge mismatch creator already, and they've got like just overall are a pretty big physical team that might cause some pressure, some problems for New York. But New York is they're so focused, and they've got guys that are used to this moment. I think Jalen Brunson's probably the most clutch player in the NBA right now. And that's like, are you going to be able to, like, they're not going to shy away from this moment. They're not going to be hesitant or get scared. And I just wonder that, with the inexperience is what, again, it really just makes me a little nervous for the Spurs. And we saw that definitely. There were some moments throughout that Thunder series, guys hesitating, not wanting to take a shot when they had a good look. I saw that a few times especially in that game 7, where there were some open threes that he just didn't take. And so I wonder how that's going to play a factor. You're going to be on the biggest stage in some of the biggest games of your career. I think it'll be huge to try to get a 2-0 series lead if you can, because I do really wonder how these guys are going to feel playing in MSG and the NBA Finals. It's good to have the NBA Finals back in MSG, even if the ticket prices are going to be just unreal for the most of your average New Yorkers, but it's going to be really good. And I think also trying to protect the basketball and not have those turnovers. That's been like, the Knicks have been so good at capitalizing off of turnovers. And I mean, when they get going, like it's almost like an avalanche. It just feels unstoppable when the offense is moving and they're playing fast and dictating the pace. I mean, they won their last. They won a closeout game by 37, and their average margin of victory this postseason went down. This is a really good team. To give you a prediction, honestly, I feel like I might be in the minority in this. I'm going to say the Knicks in 6. I think New York is just more experienced. They've got more momentum, more synergy. They've got the clutchest player in the league, guy who's not going to shy away from the moments. And they've got just role players everywhere that are just so bought into the culture. And their coach has been just running laps around his competition so far this postseason. So I'm going to go with the Knicks in 6. That's my prediction here. That's going to be the NBA Finals prediction for me. Let me know who you think is going to win and in how many games in the comments. Don't go anywhere, folks. When I come back, we're going to have UFL playoff preview for you, and we'll check in on everything going on around the MLB, little mid-season check-in. So don't go anywhere. You're watching Till the Final Timeout here on Military Broadcast Radio, powered by Work Simple.
Whatever happened to the brave young soldier? He was a good friend of mine. They say as he died, he never once cried, lying with his brothers there by his side. At 19 years old, he was sent off to war, not really sure what he was fighting for. So he fights for what's behind him and his brothers beside him. Together they'll weather the storm. 9 long months later and he's still alive. Fought several long battles you shouldn't have survived. Then the IED exploded as the ambush unfolded. He laid there bleeding as his brothers all died. Whatever happened to the brave young soldier? He was a good friend of mine. They say as he died, he never once cried, lying with his brothers there by his side. Reinforcements arrived in the nick of time. Old Doc had found him and called in the nightline. He awoke in the hospital. They patched all the holes. Too bad they couldn't fix the ones in his soul. And 16 years later he locks all the doors, unable to find anything worth living for. His family has left him. He feels society rejects him. With a bottle and a pistol, he falls to the floor. Whatever happened to the brave old veteran? He was a good friend of mine. They say as he died, he sat there and cried, with only his memories sitting there by his side. Brothers and sisters, we can't lose this war. Have we forgotten what the hell we fought for? Pick up the phone, don't knock on the door. 22 too many, we must carry on, fighting these battles until they are won. We know that we walk on the edge of a knife, but one simple call can save a life. Whatever happened to the brave old veteran? He was a good friend of mine.
Stop swiping right, get yourself right. That's exactly what you do. Be a stream, not a trickle, it down, not a nickel, and they will come to you. Make yourself, yeah. Make yourself, yeah. Code a phrase, you're in Nicholas, and you're trying to find a dime. It don't make no sense how you spend your time. With safe and change values, put your heart up on the chill. Rewind and find your mind this time. Drop it and date yourself. Date yourself. Date yourself. Date yourself. everyone you need to chase you. Those days are through when you used to do the things that you used to do. You know that it's true. You're the sweetest fruit, so see the truth, brother. When you love yourself, you don't need another lover. Get out, work out, eat out with your friends. It's time working on yourself. It's time well spent. It's like you threw yourself into the pig pen last time, but don't throw your pearls before swine. Bet yourself. Bet yourself. Right, get yourself right, that's exactly what you do. Just dream not a twinkle and dime not a nickel, and they will come to you. Bet yourself. Hey, yeah. Bet yourself. Yeah. Bet yourself, self, self.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. You're giving veterans a voice today. Powered by Work Simple, where we simplify your mission.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.us.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Final Timeout with me, host HG, powered by Work Simple. In the Work Simple studios, having ourselves a fantastic Wednesday morning. We were talking some hockey, talking a little basketball, giving a look ahead to the NBA Finals, talking the Stanley Cup. A lot of exciting playoff sports ahead of us. And we've got the UFL playoffs starting this weekend as well. We're going to have the DC Defenders taking on the Orlando Storm, and the Louisville Kings and the St. Louis Battlehawks. Now, before we get to a preview of those two matchups here, we've got to recap the final week of the UFL season. And, you know, St. Louis had already clinched, but it was looking like they had a chance to potentially secure the number one seed with a victory and an Orlando loss. And I don't know what the heck they were doing or what this effort was that they put up. But it was a sad 20-16 home loss against a struggling, middling Dallas Renegades team who really just didn't have a whole lot of offense. I mean, they had 162 yards passing and 67 rushing. St. Louis just kept giving them short fields. I mean, that was really all there was to it. I mean, there was some turnovers on downs. There was 2 interceptions thrown by Luis Perez. There was a fumble in there as well. Yeah, it was bad. Not a lot of hope for this team. I don't have a lot of confidence in them going into the postseason. Phenomenal defensive unit, but this offensive unit cannot find any consistency. It's just they've been struggling so much this year to find any consistency on the offensive end. I thought Perez coming in at quarterback might have been the guy that could have gotten this team. Excuse me, sorry about that. Could have gotten this team settled down and could have gotten them back on track and just found some consistency on that side of the ball, but it has not been the case. He was really bad in this one. I mentioned the 2 interceptions. I mean, he did throw for 274 yards. So it's like they were getting the ball up and down the field through the air for the most part, but they just kept turning it over, had a fumble. I believe it was Jarvion Howard that put the ball on the ground. So they're going to have to play a Louisville team that was pretty hot going into the end of the regular season. So I think that, I don't know, not a lot of hope for this Battlehawks team. This was not a great performance to end it off against a team that, like, Dallas's offense had been struggling mightily, and they really didn't play all that well in this one either. They just benefited greatly from the short fields, and this was a team that was allowing like close to 30 points per game on defense. And you could only manage 16 points against them at home. Not a good look at all. Doesn't fill you with confidence heading into the postseason. Well, our next matchup was between the team that was playing to keep their season alive in the Birmingham Stallions, and the team that really had nothing left but pride to play for in the Houston Gamblers. And sometimes playing for pride is a dangerous thing because the Gamblers really had a commanding 26-13 victory over Birmingham. And this was in Birmingham Stadium. Dorian Thompson-Robinson really struggled in this one. I mean, he was just under siege. That pass rush of Houston was playing with something fierce there. So a lot of throwaways, couldn't really get a lot of yards through the air. Got sacked. Excuse me. He got sacked a whole lot. I believe their total was 3. They had 5 TFLs. So sort of a rare, something that the coach was probably like, where was this, the rest of the season? But you'll take it, get a win for pride as the year ends. You get at least 4 wins on the season. The guys like Marcus Majors, John Rice Plumlee. I mean, it was just really a ground attack for Houston too. Ball control, and then they just ran the football pretty much at will. They did have 2 interceptions. Jonte Kirkland attempted to throw a pass, that got intercepted, and Plumlee did have a pass of his own get picked off. But the defense held, didn't really give up too many points off of those turnovers. Marcus Majors had 80 yards in this one. 72 of them came on a touchdown run that he had. And then he got, 8 more yards on 7 carries, but another touchdown in there as well. Plumlee with 77 rushing yards and a touchdown. But yeah, as a team, 38 carries, 278 yards. Maybe something you can build off of, a formula that you can try to incorporate for the next season. If you can't really find more consistent quarterback play. But that was just the issue for Houston all year long. But then on the other side, Birmingham, nobody to really even talk about on the offensive side of the ball. They just got straight dominated in this one. And sort of a disappointing way to end your season when you were trying to hope to at least win a game and have a chance on a playoff spot. And this was kind of the effort that you ended up giving up. Not great. So that officially eliminated them from the playoffs, which basically just secured the Kings spot in the postseason. And they were actually the final matchup of the regular season. They were taking on the Columbus Aviators. And despite having their postseason locked up, they came out and had their starters play for a little bit. And even without their starters playing the whole game, put up 42 points. It was a very convincing win to end this thing. I believe they also had the defensive touchdown in there. It was a pick six from Eric Garor on like the opening play of the game. So they came out with a really hot start. Another team, they just ran the ball incredibly well. You know, you had your backup quarterback in there for a good chunk of the game. They ended up going, they ended up going between two different guys, Mike DeLillo and Nkosi Perry, each with a couple of at least 8 passing attempts. 8 for Mike and 13 for Perry, but those combined for only 115 yards. But the ground attack, that ground attack, 205 yards on the ground. Ian Wheeler, 14 carries, 99 yards and a touchdown. Jaden Sheridan had 53 yards and a touchdown of his own. So that was ended up coming up to 205 yards on the ground on 32 carries, 4 touchdowns. Some classic UFL football. You're just dominating another team and imposing your will on the ground. Yeah, solid performance from the Aviators. They did score 27. Jalen Morton was incredibly inaccurate, 14 of 38 for 221 and a touchdown. And just overall, not the way you were hoping your season would end, especially you're playing a team that doesn't have anything to play for. They're in there. They're playing a lot of backups. And you kind of just got run through. Tedkin Jr., this is his first chance really as a head coach in a professional sports league, semi-professional at least. And didn't go the way he was hoping. 3-7 record. A lot of questions. There was a team that really never found an identity and had a lot of struggles. Couldn't find any consistency. And we also ended up getting a postseason preview with the final game of the season. DC and Orlando faced off to play each other in the final week of the season. And, Coach Anthony Beck opted to not let his guys get any rust. Also, I think just knows that, they're trying to show off here for NFL scouts and get an opportunity to play. So he doesn't want to take away any playing time from them. Ended up giving Jack Plummer letting him play the whole game. And Plummer just continues to be one of the best QBs in the league. He's got only 50% completion percentage in this one, but 203, 2 touchdowns. It was really in like game manager mode for a lot of this one. He just didn't get a whole lot of help from the running game, so he had to throw it probably more than he wanted to. Cam Camper, man, kind of coming out of nowhere. He had 3 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown. And this one, DC did not want to let they didn't have a lot of starters play. They had Jordan Teamu, who has been dealing with some injuries. Felt it was safer to rest him and let him sit out. So they had the dual threat quarterback of Jason Bean, who threw 2 interceptions on 13 to 28 passing. So it was a bit of a struggle for him there. But he did have 116 yards on the ground, was the leading rusher. 116 of the 219 that the defenders put up on the ground. Just couldn't get anything really going in the air, which was sort of their Achilles heel. Gave up 12 points in the fourth quarter, and the Storm ended up pulling out the victory in this one, 29-23. Orlando will probably be my pick to win the United Bowl. they've just been the most consistently good team all year. They've got the best quarterback. They're 8-2. One thing that might concern me, they don't have the strongest rushing game. The running numbers have never been really good, but defensively, they've got a lot of playmakers. Like in this one, it was Kanai Mayaga with the 9 total tackles. DeQuan Jackson's been the ball hawk all year. Pass rush has been a little lackluster at times, but they do still got some guys that can really pressure the quarterback. A number of former NFL players that had some honestly significant starting minutes, even guys like Isaiah Buggs on the defensive side of the ball, KJ Hamler, what have you. I think they've got the best chance. They've been the most consistent team all season. So we'll see how it goes with the defenders having their starting quarterback back. Will be interesting, but I think that DC can. Orlando's still going to probably take care of them. I would go score prediction here: Orlando 27, DC 21, something in that range there. They get the host for the first round of the playoffs. Yeah. DC's just had some struggles on the defensive side of the ball. They have a tendency to give up points. The Orlando offensive line's been really good, and Plumlee's done a good job of taking care of the football. And that's been the most important thing, is they're a team that really avoids the dumb mistakes. They play pretty mistake-free football for most of the game. Not a lot of penalties. Don't turn the ball over very often. So they don't give other teams a lot of opportunities to get easy points or stop a good drive, things like that. You've really got to just be a sound football team to stop them. And there hasn't really been any teams that have been too sound to stop them. Looking ahead at the other matchup, Louisville versus St. Louis. I think Chandler Rogers is going to be starting at quarterback for the Kings. They're running the football extremely well. They're scoring a lot of points. And St. Louis has to protect the football. They can't have bad penalties. They've got to sustain drives and give that defense some rest. I don't have a ton of faith in them to do that. And I think Louisville, you let them control this ball, they're going to, doesn't matter how good your defense is, they're eventually going to whittle them down. I'd say this is going to be a lower scoring game. I would probably go, say 19-15. Louisville is what I'm going to go with the score here. I just haven't seen it out of the Battlehawks the past couple of weeks. The ability to avoid mistakes, even in games that they've won, Perez is being a little careless with the football. And then when the guy gets pressured, he sort of just falls apart. And it's not like the Louisville defense is necessarily that scary, but they really have played a lot better. They've been getting some more consistent pass rush. I really don't like the odds here for them. So I would be going ahead and I'll give that to the Louisville to advance. And then you'd have your United Bull, the Orlando Storm versus the Louisville Kings. 2 new teams, or just 2 relocated teams at least, but definitely a lot of new faces and new places. Give me Orlando in that one. Did see this one actually turn into a bit of a high-scoring affair, say Orlando 31, Louisville 29 type of deal right there. But I think your Storm are going to be your 2026 UFL champions. All right. I got to go run to the restroom, folks. So we're going to go ahead. I'll give you one more quick music break. We got a lot of fantastic songs in here for you. So hang tight. We're going to do a check-in on the MLB midseason. And we are also going to go ahead and take a look at the Madden cover athlete possibly being leaked. And we'll talk about the potential Madden curse affecting Chicago Bears. So don't go anywhere. You're watching the Final Timeout here on Military Broadcast Radio.
Been a little crazy, and I haven't had much time. Crazy, it gets me the more you're on my mind. Thought of you and the things you do got me spinning. Never thought I'd find someone who sees things the way I do. Never thought I'd find this love till I ran into you. Filled the hole in my soul, got me spinning.
Lock in every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, for Tracer Rounds targeting veteran resources.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the Final Timeout here with your host, HG. Shout out Tracer, man. Fantastic woman. Does so much for veterans and for Military Broadcast Radio. Make sure you go check out their podcast. That was just a little ad for it. But she's a rock star for us. We love her here. Well, I apologize to some of our commenters, man. She's like, StreamYard was messing up and just is now sending me some of you guys' comments. So I'm going to go Alpha. The first one said he has these Spurs in 6. Knicks do not have a true superstar. They have all-stars, but no superstar. That's what I got to disagree with you on that. I think Jalen Brunson's proved himself to be a superstar. He is a guy that steps up in the biggest moments. He just attacks mismatches. We've seen a lot of fantastic defenders have try to guard him in this postseason, and he just doesn't matter. He hits the clutch shots. He scores tons of points. And I mean, he really just shows up for his team when he needs them. I think Jalen Brunson is a superstar. Let me know why you disagree, why you don't think so. Then he also said Spurs are more physical than the Knicks, which I do agree with you there. I do think physicality will play a big factor in this, but like I was talking about earlier, inexperience and being the young player on that big stage for the first time versus a really veteran team and the Knicks, who've been like one of the teams that's just gotten so close in the East the past couple of years. They were, conference finals back-to-back years or tough losses in the second round. Like, this is a team that's been hungry and just chasing it. I don't think they shy away from the moment. But I do think they aren't as physical as the Spurs. And the Spurs do play a really hard-nosed brand of basketball. Thank you for your comments. Who do you hope is winning? I mean, I know this kind of sounds like a cop-out, but I don't really care. I honestly love both of these teams. They've got a lot of great players. I'm a fan of both coaches. I think that it's a great story either way, and it's good for the game of basketball either way. I just don't think there's a real I don't think there's a real downside to who wins. And then, next big cat playing outside the paint, shoots too many threes. The Spurs are going to exploit that. He does need to play inside the paint more. I don't like that Cat doesn't try to play like a real 7-footer, but I think his ability to shoot threes, like I said, if he's on shooting the three ball, you kind of have to bring Wemby out, and that's going to bring some driving opportunities. They've got a lot of great athletes that can score at the rim, but it's a lot tougher to do that when you have the alien lurking in the paint. And then Alpha did say I give the Knicks one edge, which is coaching. It's been to the finals before as a head coach and an assistant. Yeah, Mitch Johnson's still pretty novice in terms of a head coach, but Mike Brown's got a lot of experience. So appreciate you guys in the comments. I apologize if StreamYard was acting up and not showing me those at first, but thank you so much for all your comments. Hey, don't forget question of the day for everyone watching. I'll put the banner back up. Give me your 2 cents on this. Which do you think is harder to play, golf or baseball? And speaking of baseball, let's go talk a little MLB. We had some fun games last night, actually. Dodgers managed to hold on against a rally from the Diamondbacks. We saw the Braves eke one out against the Blue Jays at home. Close game between the Reds and the Royals. Guardians kind of crushed the Yankees. Really good matchup. The Phillies got a much-needed win against a good Padres team. We're probably safe to say we're about a quarter of the way through the season. The Braves continue to have a really great year. First team to reach 40 wins now. Probably going to be the first team to reach 50, if I had to guess. Dodgers are close to winning their 6th straight series in a row. Milwaukee's looking really good at 37-21. Pirates have been a nice surprise in the NL Central as well. Jumping up into second place there. Finding a little success, man. Maybe maybe we'll get a chance to see Paul Skeens play in September and October. Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah. Again, it's really hard to pick who you think like favorites or or who you think is going to lock up a spot. We just have so much season left, and it's not, you just don't know who's going to get injured, who's going to stay healthy. I'm wondering like what teams might be able to flip the script or get a turnaround going. We'll see. St. Louis is sort of teetered off a little bit, but I think they're a team that if they can find a way to put it all together, they've really had some games that have impressed me. I really think that they've got a solid bullpen and a nice batting rotation. I think if they, I'm not sure what's really stopping them from getting it all, from being a little bit better, but that's a team I feel like might be able to run the table. But the Central's just been, I mean, the Brewers are only 4 games ahead despite with 37 victories. So Central's just been really close in general this year. Every team with 30 plus wins, that's going to be a really close division. The NL Central, that is. The AL Central's kind of just full of bad teams. The Royals, the Tigers, really disappointing. I mean, like they can't. I mean, they've got some good players, but I think that the overall construction of that roster, there's just too many holes there. I like this race between Tampa Bay and New York. I think this is going to be a fun one for the first place in the AL East. I mean, it's been really back and forth all season. They did have a series. Game 2 of that series got postponed with rain delayed out in Tampa. But first, it was a 4-2 victory for the Rays. Then the game got postponed. And then a 2-0 victory for the Yankees, who did get Garrett Cole back, starting to figure some things out. So they'll probably be a factor in the postseason. Ben Rice has been having a really good year, batting .305, slugger percentage at .650. I'm liking the rate I'm just liking the competition though between them and the Rays. My Rockies still doing pretty bad. They lost or they're currently, I think, tied in the series with the Angels. No, they're going to win that series. That's right. They did have an incredible come from behind victory a couple days ago. A 9-8 victory over the Angels, but man, it was looking rough there for a lot of it. They were down 6-1 going into the 8th inning. But they got 5 runs in the 8th. It was kind of a disastrous inning for the Angels, who then did end up getting 2 runs of their own to reclaim the lead. But the Rockies got 1 more run in the 9th. And something we might honestly just have to hang a banner is that one of our closers didn't blow the game for us. And we ended up coming away with the victory. It was Sentazatala. I think I'm pronouncing that right. But yeah. Hang a banner. The closer didn't blow the game. We got a victory, had to come back down a lot of runs. Well, that was a nice little change of pace, but they're going to be they're still 14 games below 500. So we'll take the little wins when we can. Right. But I would say right now, though, still at the about quarter mark of the postseason, I think there really have only been 3 teams that have really stood out as front runners as like the best looking teams in the league, and they all are in the NL. It's the Braves, the Brewers, and the Dodgers still just look like they're a league a little bit above everyone else with how they're going. So if those teams can stay healthy, they're going to be a problem. I really do think. I mean, I'm buying into the Braves if they stay healthy, man. They have just a nasty batting rotation. They've got a really good bullpen as well. Some fantastic pitchers. I mean, Acuna, he's starting to look like he's back in MVP form. So he honestly might win it this year. We'll see. I mean, Shohei's back to pitching, so that he had a no-hitter against the Rockies through 6 innings. So it'll be tough to win MVP from him. But yeah, Acuna is looking phenomenal. Had a 2 home run night a couple nights ago. Really batting super well. Actually, here we'll pull up the guys. His full stats as well. But I mean, like, I'll talk about Acuna is really good there, but Drake Baldwin's been having a great season batting. Austin Riley, Matt Olson, all those guys have just been so good. I mean, Dominic Smith's been a low-key, an underrated batter for them. So yeah, Acuna currently on 173 at-bats, has 43 hits. He's got 28 runs, 17 RBIs, and home runs, just 7. But the power, like I'm saying, the power really looks like it's starting to return to him. So this Braves team just in general crushing it with one of the best run differentials in the league, winning a ton of series. Excuse me. A squad, they can just really put up a lot of the runs. Like looking back at some of their couple of their games, I mean, they in LA a few weeks ago, I mean, back-to-back games where they put up 7 runs against the Dodgers. They had a series against the Marlins that started off disastrous. They lost 12-0 and then rebounded with 8-4 win, 9-3 a 9-1 win, and a 9-3 win. Put up 10 runs a few days ago against the Red Sox. So yeah, they've had a number of games where they just put up a ton of runs. And currently, right now, with Dodgers, do still have them beat on the run differential. They are starting to pull away a little bit in that aspect, man. They got a plus 127 run differential, but plus 110, nothing to scoff at if you're Atlanta. Those two are just still like so far ahead of everyone else. I mean, the next closest is Milwaukee and New York are both at plus 93 in their run differential. Those two teams are just insane batting rotations. And it's just like so many different guys are coming in and stepping up to the plate. Well, like I was saying, in the NL right now, I think like if Acuna gets it going, he could be certainly in the MVP conversation. Shohei is probably the front runner for the NL MVP. And on the other side, in the AL, I don't know if anybody's who's really standing out to me. I don't know if I have an MVP favorite there just yet. I think it's too, and it is really early. Such a long season. Guardians might have somebody that could that could jump in there in the MVP conversation. You know what? I'll throw out a little bit of a dark horse potentially. Matuka or Menenka Murakami on the White Sox. This kid's having a really fantastic year. Third most home runs in the league, batting a solid 240. He's got 43 runs. Let's see the RBI numbers. 41 there. A solid on base percentage of 378. OPS is 938, WAR 1.8. I mean, he's could be I'll throw it out there. Maybe a dark horse is this guy's only 26. So if he can stay healthy, and the White Sox are honestly not too bad this season. So I mean, 32 and 39. If they can stay in the running with Cleveland, I mean, they just got to not have any crazy losing streaks. And I mean, they could at least be in a wild card race. I mean, the AL isn't really right now. It's not shaping up to look too crazy. So it wouldn't be ridiculous to say that, you know, he stays healthy and their team stays in the wild card race, that we could be looking at him as a potential candidate. Yandy Diaz actually on the Rays. I've liked what he's been doing here, so I think it's that could be an MVP race that's wide open. I do think with Shohei pitching and batting in the NL, you're going to have to just have a fantastic, an unreal season again or just an absolutely gaudy season to really jump out. But maybe voter fatigue will play a factor there. Yeah, we aren't even at the All-Star break though, so it's hard to. Only problem with baseball is there's just way too many games. So there's just a lot of games and things that just feel like filler or unnecessary, and it's hard to make any calls or bold takes because you have a billion more games that could affect the outcome here. Yeah, let me know who some of the players you guys are liking are, and that you're keeping an eye on. What teams you think are gonna win the division? Who's been your favorites to watch? I guess I got that. My job. We got the Saturday Night Baseball on Fox, where the master control operators are running those games. It's been a lot of fun to I've gotten to see a wide array of baseball so far this year. So, all right, well, moving on to a little NFL news. I mean, there was a pretty massive trade that I think we've got to talk about. Of course, I mean the A.J. Brown to the New England Patriots trade. I kid. Obviously, Myles Garrett getting moved to the Los Angeles Rams is massive. And I think that makes the Rams the definite favorites to win the Super Bowl. But this A.J. Brown trade is pretty huge as well. I mean, there was a lot of drama there in Philly with them. And I mean, Drake May had a almost MVP season. I mean, MVP caliber season with like his number one options being like Kayshon Boutte and Matt Collins. So now all of a sudden he's got A.J. Brown and Romeo Doubs, who, let's not forget, was a pretty underrated signing as well. I mean, those were a couple of big moves, but I do want to talk about the Rams first. I mean, they're they're going to be insane. I mean, Puka's coming back on a contract year, so he's going to be motivated. You're still going to have Devontae Adams in the building. Felt like they might have been able to use an upgrade at the wide receiver 3 spot or tight end. On the defensive side of the ball, I think their biggest issue that they still needed to address was maybe another pass rusher, because while Jared Verse has been solid, generating a lot of pressures, the sacks really weren't there. They retained a lot of their offensive line, including getting Quessenberry back. They made the trades for Trent McDuffie. They brought in Jalen Watson. They re-signed Cameron Curl. And now Myles Garrett is on the team. So that defensive side of the ball is stacked. Matthew Stafford is coming off of a MVP type of season. That team is going to be absolutely stacked. They're going to be hard to beat. It's going to be a tough division. I mean, the NFC West is still shaping up to be pretty good. I mean, the Niners definitely loaded up, bringing in got Dre Greenlaw back, signed some help in the secondary with Nate Hobbs and Jack Jones, brought in some interior help with Osa Odighizuwa, re-signed Trent Williams, brought in some offensive line depth. They got Christian Kirk. They brought in Mike Evans. Still could trade Brandon Ayuk, let him, or maybe they re-sign him, bring him back. So some options there. Kittle's going to be back. C-Mac's going to be back. They're going to be pretty good. Can't forget about the Seahawks. Did lose a couple of good players, and Kobe Bryant went to the Bears. They lost Kenneth Walker. That's going to be a huge hit. But they did bring in, I thought Emmanuel Wilson was a really underrated signing. Rashid Shaheed signed to a new deal. JSN signed to a new deal. Bringing in some tight end depth with Harrison Bryant. Then they did a good job of replacing and adding some depth. They got in the secondary, Josh Jobs re-signing there, which was huge. They brought in Noah Igbinahi and Sherman Jean Charles on some team-friendly deals. Brought in Dante Fowler for some edge pressure. Extended Derek Hall, who was fantastic for them in the Super Bowl. D'Anthony Bell, Rodney Thomas in the secondary. The Cardinals are also going to be there. Let's not pretend though that we're all too concerned when Jacoby Brissett's holding out for a raise. It's got to be an all-time low as a franchise. But those three teams, it's going to be an absolute bloodbath for who wins the NFC West. It's going to be a very fierce division in football. But I think the Rams, I mean, there's talks that Aaron Donald comes out of retirement. It would probably be wraps if that happened. But the Rams, I mean, I would be absolutely shocked if they don't win the Super Bowl in the next year or two before Stafford retires. I mean, this is exactly what you wanted. And I think if they do get this Super Bowl and Ty Simpson gets a chance to develop, that pick might not look as bad in hindsight. This trade does make that pick look a little bit better. You're already going to be giving up future first rounders. You're expecting yourself to be good. You're not really expecting to be in that position. The only reason you had the 13th overall pick is because of Atlanta trading with you. So are you going to be in a position to draft another quarterback like that? I mean, yeah, next year's class is set to be better, but you're expecting yourself to be picking around 29 to 32, hopefully 32. So are you going to get a shot at one of those quarterbacks? Maybe Les Snead was a genius. I do think they do still lack some wide receiver depth, but Matthew Stafford made it work. Puka did a good job of staying healthy. His thing is just not go the Antonio Brown route and stop doing crazy things offline and to go seek counseling and rehab. That'll be the big thing for him. Moving over to the other big trade, though, New England. Let's take a look at this roster in its totality now after the A.J. Brown trade. Scary, man. I think New England could win the division again. They're going to have – here's the thing. I think this is they're going to be a much better team, but they might just have less victories because they're going to have a tougher schedule. But this is definitely a better team. I think Romeo Dobbs was one of my favorite signings of theirs. So that was massive. And now you bring in A.J. Brown there. Kayshon Boutte really emerged. I think he's going to be a really good number 3 wide receiver. I think it'll be better for him to not be like the number one, to not see as much coverage and be the number 1 or number 2 guy there oftentimes. I think Diggs is still a free agent. I don't think he'll be back there. So, yeah, on the offensive side of the ball, they also stole somebody from the Bills, a fantastic fullback in Reggie Gilman. They've got a couple of good backs there in Stevenson and Travion Henderson, an absolute home run threat. Now they're bringing in Elijah Vera Tucker for the offensive line. Can't forget about their draft as well. Caleb Lomo in the first round. Trying to bolster up that offensive line a little bit. Now, the other free agents that they brought in that I liked. KJ Britt they got him in their linebacker core. Isn't like going to be huge to move the needle, but he is a very solid linebacker there. Good against the run. Added some depth to the secondary with Kendall Vildor, Kevin Byard, who, on the flip side of his career, but still is going to be, I think, a very valuable piece back there in that secondary. Another super underrated signing is Draymond Jones. He's been a very solid and productive pass rusher throughout his career. So I think they still might need a premier guy there off the edge, but these two teams will really revamp their roster. We'll see. The AFC is going to be a struggle as well. They got some teams really rising up. You got to imagine the Chiefs are going to be a lot better this year. I think the Ravens aren't going to struggle as much. Jacksonville and Houston are likely going to be good again. The Colts, they can stay healthy. We're going to see them potentially be problematic. So, see. For the Patriots, you're really hoping on guys like Gabe Jacobs to kind of be very productive in year one, the edge out of Illinois that they took. Maybe a guy like Quintavious Hutchins turns out to be a bit of a star. But who knows? Yeah. We've had some major trades this offseason, though. I think the Garrett trade, obviously that one for the Rams, got to give that an A. Plus, the A.J. Brown trade, I think, was a great trade for New England. I like the Waddle trade and the Trent McDuffie trade were both A's. There haven't really been a lot of bad trades that teams have made. Besides the Max Crosby trade, that one blew up in flames. That one we'll give that an F because that one didn't even go through. With all these moves, if I had to give you just a mock top 10 power rankings, going into next year. Now I got to put the Rams at number 1. I'm honestly still I'm going to have the Seahawks at 2, though. I think they did a good job, even though they lost some guys. They filled in and added some depth. They kept a lot of consistency along the offensive and defensive lines. And they've still got probably the best receiver or second best receiver in football right now. At the number 3 spot, after this trade, I'm going to probably give it to the Patriots. I think the only thing that's holding them back is Mike Vrabel's off the field issues and his infidelity could be, but that's starting to blow over. So that could, be, they're definitely going to be a powerhouse. And then honestly, maybe I'm being a bit of a homer, but give me my Broncos. I think we still do have a bit of a weakness at the linebacker position, but the secondary is still full of talent. We addressed the wide receiver room, brought back J.K. Dobbins, drafted Jonah Coleman. So we've got some drafted Justin Jolly to try to fill in and find some talent at tight end. So, I mean, we've kept the roster that was pretty good and won 14 games largely intact, and I think added to some holes that it had. So could very well be the 4th best team. Number 5, give me the Ravens. I like defensive-minded head coach. It's going to be really good for that unit. I think they stay healthy. They did a good job getting some help back on the offensive line despite losing some guys. Finally have a premier pass rusher there. I think now with Myles Garrett out of the division, the door is open for Lamar Jackson and company. Number 6, give me the Eagles probably. Despite losing A.J. Brown, they did they got pretty much everything they needed. They drafted his replacement, Mekhi Lemon. Offensive line still great. Ton of talent on defense. They brought back Dallas Goedert and still got Eli Stowers. The secondary is still really good. We'll see how losing Reed Blankenship affects them, but I think they're still going to be really good. I'll put the Bills at 7. I'm going to go with I'm going to put the Texans at 7. Put the Bills at 8. Go with the Jags at 9. And then I'm going to put the Bears at 10. Call me crazy, but I'm going to put the Bears at 10. That's just the early top 10 power rankings based off of everything that's gone on in this offseason there. Let me know if I'm one last thing before I go. That makes me nervous for putting the Bears at 10. Caleb Williams, rumored to be the new Madden cover athlete. They're going to have the Iceman pose. It's going to look tough, but the Madden curse, is that going to get to the young play caller in year 3 with a tougher schedule and a bit of a target on their back? We'll see. Can't wait for the NFL season. We're under 100 days until football is back. Hang tight, everyone. Till then, we've got some awesome NBA and NHL action to tide this over. That's going to do it for our show today. One more time for Military Broadcast Radio here in the Work Simple Studios. I'm HG on the Final Timeout. We'll see you all next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. giving our veterans a voice.